Hello, gentleman. I'm Angela Lee Duckworth, psychologist, motivational speaker. When I started studying what drives people to succeed, I thought the answer would be something like talent or intelligence. But the deeper I looked in classrooms, in sports teams, in businesses, I saw something different. The people who made it weren't always the smartest or the fastest. They were the ones who could keep going even when no one was watching, even when the results weren't immediate. That's when I started to understand that motivation isn't something that magically appears. It's not something you wake up with or wait around for. It's something you build like a muscle from the inside out. And the truth is, the strongest kind of motivation isn't external. It's not about praise, pressure, or competition. It's internal, it's personal, and it's deeply psychological. So today, let's explore what really drives us and, more importantly, how we can learn to drive ourselves. Lasting motivation doesn't come from pressure, it comes from purpose. At first glance, pressure seems powerful. Deadlines, expectations, fear of failure, all of these can push us to act, and for a while they work. You might perform under pressure, you might even succeed, but pressure is temporary, it fades, it burns people out, and it often leaves behind anxiety instead of fulfillment. Purpose, on the other hand, is something entirely different. Purpose is internal. It's the why behind what you do. It gives meaning to your effort, even when the process is hard, and that's the key difference. Pressure pushes, but purpose pulls. Pressure says you have to. Purpose says you get to. When your motivation is built on purpose, you don't just endure the hard days, you understand them. You grow through them. We see this in high performers across every field. The athletes who train before the sun rises. The students who study long after others have gone to sleep. The creators who keep showing up even when the world isn't watching. They all share something in common. They've connected their work to something bigger than pressure. They've found personal meaning in the pursuit. Purpose makes hard work feel worth it. It turns discipline into devotion. And while pressure often comes from the outside, from others' expectations, purpose always starts within. That's why it's sustainable. That's why it doesn't collapse the moment you remove the external push. But here's the interesting part. Many people never slow down enough to ask themselves why they do what they do. They keep chasing grades, promotions, validation without ever pausing to consider whether it connects to something that truly matters to them. And that disconnection is what causes motivation to fall apart. Because without purpose, effort feels empty, but with it, even struggle feels sacred. Purpose doesn't have to be grand or world-changing. It just has to be real. For some, it's family. For others, it's curiosity. For some, it's proving to themselves that they're capable of more than what life has handed them. Once you identify that, once you align your actions with your purpose, motivation becomes less about willpower and more about identity. You stop asking, how do I stay motivated? And start realizing, this is just who I am. We are most motivated not when we chase rewards, but when we believe our effort matters. On the surface, it's easy to assume that rewards, money, recognition, grades, titles are the strongest drivers of motivation. And to be fair, they do work for a while. But time and again, research and real life tell us something deeper. What keeps us going isn't what we get at the end, it's what we feel in the process. And that feeling is meaning, the belief that what we do has value, that our actions contribute to something larger, or even simply that they are worth doing in themselves. Think about the times in your life when you've been deeply engaged in something, fully focused, energized, and willing to keep going despite difficulty. Chances are, it wasn't just because someone promised you a reward. It was because, on some level, you believed that your effort mattered, that you were building something, improving something, becoming something. Motivation rooted in rewards tends to fade once the reward is gone. That's why people often lose momentum after reaching a goal. They got the prize, but they didn't build a reason to keep going. In contrast, when people believe their actions are meaningful, that their struggle, their discipline, Their sacrifice is part of something worth. While their motivation becomes self-sustaining, they aren't running on dopamine, they're running on conviction. This is especially important in environments like schools, workplaces, and even personal goals. If you want someone to stay motivated, including yourself, don't just offer rewards. Help them connect their work to impact. Show them how their effort moves the needle. That connection between action and value is what creates ownership. When people feel that their work matters, they work harder not because they have to, but because they want to. Belief in effort isn't about overconfidence. It's not about thinking everything you do is world-changing. It's about understanding that what you choose to put energy into reflects what you care about. And caring, even quietly, gives energy. It gives persistence. It gives purpose. The truth is, not every effort pays off the way we hope. Sometimes you try your best and still fall short. But even then, even in failure, if you know your effort mattered, you walk away with something more powerful than a reward. You walk away with integrity, with growth, with resilience. Those things don't show up on a scoreboard, but they shape who you become. And who you become, not just what you earn, is the greatest reward of all.